Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome a former member of the SAS, that's the Surbiton Council of Society, Craig Charles.
There's always been a couple of things putting me off contact sports. The word contact and the word sport. You see, I'm not exactly the fittest of fellas. I once told a mate of mine that I couldn't jump the hurdles in his back lawn, and then he said they were croquet hoops. Which is why on Robot Wars, we let the robots do all the running round for us. And contact, they can't get enough of it. Let's take a look at who's getting physical this week.
Well, we've seen Exterminator 2 before, Seeded 22. We've seen Judge Shred 2 before, Millennium Bug and newcomers. So are Rambot. Arnold Terminegger against the Seeded Behemoth at number 6.
Wired up and fired up, Behemoth team is back. For more destruction, of course. They've got 2.5 grams worth of titanium bucket here, which can lift 40 stone, probably. Mike skateboard. Sacrifices for Robot Wars. That apparently is meant to stop the thing flipping out, we shall see. But you don't need 2.5 grand. For Robot Wars, you could use an old water bucket like this one. This is the Arnold Terminegger team. Holly here is a chief strategist, working hard. It's not very destructive, but it's a start. They could apparently possibly lift 200 kilograms, but if they lift 100, we think that they'll blow up. And this is Rambot, new to the wars. This is the fastest robot we've got, 20 miles an hour. That is very, very nifty. That's because they've got modified Bosch motors in here, which will do the deed. That's a flipper. That'll come at you like a punch, even though it's small. It's very, very powerful. Titanium padded, so Shunt will have a problem getting through that. Also, start together with glue. That should be interesting. Will they be Larry the Lamb or a wolf in sheep's clothing?
Time to unleash the dogs of war. And boy, are they rabid. Hey, 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 let the wars begin!
From High Wycombe, Arnold Terminegger.
Lightest in the heat at 73.6 kilos, the lifting mechanism provides the weaponry, can self-right. The chassis comes from a cold water storage tank. Let's hope Arnold doesn't catch a cold. Now, we've seen the English family before in the last series with a walking robot, Miss Struts. It's the first time, though, they've entered a roller and not a walker.
We're Team II. I'm Ian, the team captain. This is my daughter Holly, and this is my son William, and this is our robot Arnold Terminegger.
Arnold has got a lifting device powered by a winch, which also acts as a self-righter. He has got 2 bits of metal here which stick out at the side when the lifter goes up, so that if he's on his side, he'll be lifted onto his front again.
Arnold Terminegger is a water tank, and he's got a mirror surface so he can scare away the other robots.
From Potter's Bar, Rambot.
2 steel spikes to the front and back act as lifting devices here. The outer shell is aluminium, the inner titanium for extra protection, and at speeds of 20 miles an hour, as we've heard, this can really ram and slam.
Hello, my name is David Johnson, this is Tim Denyer, and this is Warren, and we are Team Challenge, and this is our robot Rambot. At the front we've got spikes which we're going to ram into the opposition, and talons on the bottom to hook them. On the back we've got more spikes, so we're going to reverse into them as fast as we can and knock hell out of them. Inside we've got the biggest batteries we could get our hands on and the biggest motors in the business, so we know we're going to do some damage with this robot.
From Hemel Hempstead and number 6 lead, Behemoth.
A mighty machine, heavy at 80 kilos, a titanium shell and bucket scoop, 2 motors, and an electric wheelchair gearbox, top speeds of 6 miles an hour, and can be top heavy. You'll see what I mean from the Series 3 heat final. Pitbull rolled and in trouble, but the arena spike toppled Behemoth, and that was it, crashing over. Have they learned a lesson?
Hi, this is Team Behemoth, myself Anthony Pritchard, Kane Aston and Michael Pritchard. This year, this is Behemoth Evolution 3. The strength on the bucket is 300 kilograms, which gives us good tippability.
This year we've come along with self-righters, so that even if we roll right upside down, we can always right and get back on our wheels.
We've also upgraded the drive for this horse, and it now pulls 1.5 ton, and it's a lot quicker.
Roboteers, stand by.
Behemoth with Anthony Pritchard, 23 years of age there in the middle, and his brother Michael to the left, and Kane Aston too. And Arnold Terminator with Ian English at the controls, and Rambot, of course. Looks good, doesn't it? David Johnson, an electrical engineer at the controls.
3, 2, 1, activate.
The Rambot dark horses in this, but it's immediately Arnold Terminator, taking on Behemoth. Behemoth strong with the bucket scoop. Arnold back on the attack, looks quite lightweight in comparison, giving 7 kilos in that push and shove, tug of war, and almost toppling Behemoth immediately, and this was the danger for Behemoth. We've seen it already. Can Arnold complete the task here? Behemoth in real trouble. A great yawning gap opens as it flexes the scoop though, and Behemoth getting away. A great slam from Rambot there, and this time it's Arnold who takes the tumble. Behemoth using the scoop, Arnold on his side, Rambot with the wedge underneath. Luckily, Arnold Terminator is okay. Right way up and rolling again. Sergeant Bash comes in, Rambot back onto the arena wall. Very quick Rambot, 20 miles an hour. Low centre of gravity, speedy. Look at that underneath Sergeant Bash with the wedge shape again. 2 steel spikes on the back. It has that little punchy flipper as well, and over goes Arnold Terminator once more. Has the self-riding mechanism, the metal side wings. This is a great battle. Behemoth flips Rambot, but they can roll either side up Rambot. They're okay. It's not a classic self-riding mechanism, but the wheels can roll Rambot either way up. Over onto the side goes Arnold Terminator. Out come the wings. Rights itself again. Very even, this one. Behemoth, seated number 6, on the attack again, with the classic warning, yellow and black side stripes and chevrons. Rambot, this time with an attack using the spikes, bashes against the arena wall. Behemoth attacking Arnold Terminator. Rambot in underneath Arnold. Behemoth trying to lift Rambot. This is great stuff. Just see the winking, blinking eyes of Arnold Terminator. Will those eyes be shut in defeat? Behemoth flipping Rambot. Not a worthy attack, that. Not really if it comes to points to be gained by driving style. Oh, and Behemoth's been punctured on the side by the spikes of Rambot. Rambot coming good almost at the end, attacking Arnold Terminator too. So we've seen aggression from Rambot all the way through. But have we seen great driving control by Rambot? Too quick for its own good, perhaps. We've also seen aggression from Arnold Terminator and from Behemoth, but Behemoth has sustained damage under 10 seconds to go. Behemoth on the attack. Will that count in its favour? As the judges will decide, a very, very close battle, this one. One of the closest we've ever had, I think. So our 3 judges have to decide on style, control, damage and aggression. Behemoth immediately attacked by Arnold Terminator. But then Arnold taking 1 or 2 tumbles. Points knocked off. Self-righting, points gained for control. Rambot rushing around, causing damage, I think. But was it controlled aggression?
The decision's in. Rambot has been eliminated.
So how's the team feeling?
We're pretty down, I'm afraid. Loss of the judge's decision. We might not agree with that, but that's life. We live to fight another day.
You were basically too powerful.
Yeah, that's right. Yes, we had all the power there, but finding a lot of trouble getting it actually down onto the arena floor there. And so, you know, ended up a little bit out of control, which is a shame.
And ripping up the arena floor.
Yes, we did that as well.
You're basically too good a robot. But power is nothing without control.
Has to be controlled aggression. Rambot pulls Behemoth and Arnold Terminator through. Judge Shred 2, Millennium Bug and Exterminator 2 next.
Order in the court.
The Judge Shred team is back from Leicester. Judge Shred 2. Horrifically sharp pincer there. It's pneumatically powered. There's the CO2, the fire extinguisher cylinder. They've got a sulphuriter and a flipper, but it doesn't crush. Now, if you thought you'd heard the last of the Millennium Bug, it is back with legs on. 8 of them. Walks at the same speed as me. It's got a powerful lifting fork at the front here, so they think. They only put it on this morning and it hasn't been tested. The pressure of Robot Wars. Will it walk? Or will it kick the derriere of Exterminator? They've also got a ferocious-looking axe there. They've got every kind of metal they could probably find from the scrap heap there. Here is padding. This is the fastest robot that I think I've seen on Robot Wars, 25 miles an hour. That is awesome. And for one of these 3, there is a death sentence waiting.
From Norwich, Millennium Bug.
A walking robot, therefore allowed to be twice as heavy as the rest. The 2,000 RPM rotating disc was inspired by the success of Hypnodisc in the last wars. Will this be a bugbear for the rest?
My name is Rory Williams. I'm the team captain and designer of the Millennium Bug. Our team members are my son Thomas and Andrew Walker. Now, we're a walking robot, and that means we can be twice as heavy as the other robots. So we think we've got an excellent chance, and we're hoping to do very well. And we've been practicing our Millennium Bug special celebration, just like the footballers do. So chaps, if you join with me, this is the celebration.
From Hereford and seeded number 22, Exterminator.
Will they exterminate with the axe and scoop bucket? 2 750-watt, 24-volt industrial motors give the power. The shell is aluminium, and it's very, very quick. Takes a special robot to push Panic Attack all the way, and that's what happened in Series 3 in their heat final, but then they blew their gas canister and couldn't self-right, and it was the end. But Exterminator are back.
I'm Simon, this is Paul. We have another team member, Marlon. This is our robot Exterminator. Our main weapon is our axe here, which we use to impale as many opponents as possible.
Should we fail to use the axe, we may use the self-right mechanism to flip our robots over. As a defense mechanism, we have the bucket on the front, and should we get flipped, we have a self-right mechanism on the side.
From Colville in Leicestershire, Judge Shred 2.
Back to pass judgment again with a short, sharp shock treatment from the pneumatic axe. It has a wedge to flip and a streamek to self-right. The shell's polycarbonate and alloy. In Series 3, they gave Mr. Punch the old left-right combination, but then they were defeated by Exterminator, so our judges bear grudges.
Hi, we're Team Judge Shred. This is our robot, Judge Shred 2. These are my colleagues, David and Paul.
Hey, my job is to look after the drivetrain, the electronics in here. I'm responsible for the weapons, axe, flipper, both powered by CO2.
Roboteers, stand by.
Here they are then, Judge Shred 2. At the controls there in the middle, Alan Blakeman, a school technician. Millennium Bug with young Thomas, praying that Dad doesn't do that. Celebration dance and Exterminator, while I'm Pritchard at the controls at the right.
3, 2, 1.
It's interesting to see how the Walker gets on here, Millennium Bug. Actually quicker than the Walkers in the last series. Developments have been made. Very interesting. They're up to 4 miles an hour. I know, it's not startling. There you go. Exterminator slamming into Judge Shred 2 and forcing it against the arena wall. Look at the judges from behind. And the wibble-wobble of Millennium Bug. Those leg scaffolding pipes. But Exterminator rolls away into safety. And Judge Shred 2 comes in on the attack and flicks away a bit of protective metal. I wonder if that's decorative only. For Millennium Bug, look at the great bludgeoning rotating disc at the back, 2,000 RPM, and that will cause problems. Do not get too tight to that. Another piece of metal comes flying off. All of a sudden, the thighs on those legs are being exposed. Hack to hack, Exterminator, and Judge Shred 2, Exterminator, through the flames. And to take on Judge Shred 2, well, the axe of Exterminator making no impression whatsoever there. on the shell of Judge Shred 2. The shell polycarbonate alloy, and at the moment, in this particular battle, I'd say Judge Shred 2 is the most impressive, but Exterminator means business now again on Millennium Bug. The arena is absolutely littered now with shards of metal from the Bug. And again, it's Judge Shred 2 to come in. No, he leaves Exterminator to do more damage. Poor old Bug out there, left alone. And it will not be going to the ugly Bug ball tonight. Poor old Millennium. Exterminator 2, and now Judge Shred 2. They came in with a pincer movement to roll Millennium Bug over. And I can't think there's any way back now for the Millennium Bug. That's like a beetle when turned topsy-turvy. Oh, someone go in and write it. I don't think any controls in the world can rescue Millennium Bug now. At least we won't see Rory Williams and Andrew Walker and the celebration wiggle of the fingers. Let your fingers do the walking, let your robots do the talking, and it's silence from them. Exterminator with the axe. They're the Judge Shred 2 boys. And Millennium Bug onto the arena floor flipper! Oh, they didn't even bounce right way up. Dead Metal comes in to cut off the scaffolding poles. Millennium Bug no more. Flipped and a bit of a flop.
The Bug's on its back, legs flailing, flipped out of the competition.
Well, it would have been all right if it had stayed upright, eh?
It wasn't that amazing when that hydraulic floor came up and flew through the air and sort of
if it landed on its feet, we would have been running still.
Oh, we're going to land on our feet. Anyway, it was good fun, wasn't it?
Yeah. It hasn't been immobilised.
That counts as immobilised. We're definitely out of the competition. There's no denying that.
You weren't immobilised, are you sure? Millennium Bug, you are a deceased, defunct ex-robot. Exterminator 2 and Judge Shred 2 go through. The seeds kept apart, Behemoth against the Judge. Exterminator 2 against Arnold. Arnold Terminator.
It's going to be a while before our competing robots are up and at it. So in the meantime, let's play some pinball.
Craig, you'll remember how last time we saw Gemini pass the total of long-time leaders Spawn of Scuttle with a wonderful run, 255 points, 3 bots to come in this trial of driving skills and control and pace.
From Durham, seeded number 5, Firestorm.
Veterans of Robot Wars, experienced. What will their tactics be?
Roboteers, stand by.
Points all over the arena floor. On the side targets, barrels to be struck, bridges to be crossed.
1. Activate.
Quick points to be gained by those barrels, I would have thought. Be quicker than that, Firestorm. 5 points for each barrel knocked over, so we've got at least 25. Ooh, not great driving skills, though. Bashed against the arena wall, and now the house robots close in. Can they get contact with the arena side target? They're too slow here, Firestorm. They need more quick points urgently. The multi-ball release, no, they've missed that. Dead Metals close them off. They come back again. Hit the multi-ball option. 10 points for releasing the balls. For each ball in the pit, that's another 5 points. Can they touch the 75 there? Firestorm gets 75 points. Litter, you just saw the car door release. If they can open the car doors, another 25 points. They seem a little bit sluggish at the controls, though. Eventually, they open those car doors. Bash into Matilda. Matilda guarding the target. They're trying to get in underneath Matilda now. Firestorm. Good defensive work by Tildy, protecting the 50 points. And not enough from Firestorm in the end. Well, they'll be disappointed overall. Started off with all those barrels crashing to the deck. So we know they've got 25. Multi-ball release, yes. Another 10. Then they hit the big 75. So a reasonable score. Quite creditable. The door release. But then Matilda blocked them off. In the end, frustration. Alex Mordew and Graham Bone And Firestorm 2 with 135 points mid-table. Invertebrat and Kilohertz still to come. Gemini at the top of the leaderboard.
Another player falling prey to our pinball pirates. And after that mouthful, let's get back to the wars.
Our 2 seeds survive. Exterminator 2 face Arnold Termenegger. And up against those great sports Judge Shred 2, Behemoth.
In the pens, Behemoth about to go into the arena. Now basically it's 2 scoopers up against each other.
Yeah.
But you have got a smaller target area than they have as
Yeah,
such.
well, we've got the width of the bucket on the front end, so by keeping that to their robot, we should be able to get them over.
And you've got 0 ground clearance on that bucket, haven't you?
Yeah, but basically the bucket actually rides along the ground, so
you're in with a fighting chance.
We're in a fighting chance, yes.
Good news. The judges are here at the bar. You're quite pleased with yourselves, aren't you, after that melee? Why?
Extremely. We lifted that walking robot, which was 160 kilos. So
and you didn't know you could do that,
no.
did you?
Straight on its back.
Now, in this bout that we're about to have, I believe there's 1/4 of a centimetre difference between your ground clearance and theirs with the flippers at the front. So, how are you feeling?
Great. Ours is lower than theirs is, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, but there's more areas for them to come in at you. You've got a bigger surface area of actual bot.
Yeah. Have to try and spin it round on itself, stop them getting in at the side. That's the main thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good luck to you.
Thank you very much.
Let's hope you're pleased.
Roboteers, stand by.
There's Judge Shred 2, the Leicester-based team. Alan Blakeman in the middle, his son Paul on the right. And Behemoth, the Pritchard boys. Again, it's Anthony in the middle at the controls. Kane Aston's with them. BSc in Computer Studies at Hearts University. Behemoth of Trundler. Judge Shred 2 is the quicker away. Indeed, it's just about the quicker robot. Get up to 7 miles an hour. Behemoth, the top speed of 6. Behemoth into the clutches of Dead Metal. Dead Metal drawing Behemoth back into the CPZ. Using great power to get away. Their 2 motors from a wheelchair gearbox powering Behemoth. And there's the front scoop in underneath Judge Shred 2. A little lick of flame on the back of Judge Shred 2. Getting extinguished, though, in the air of the arena. Toppled! Over go Judge Shred 2. Now can they use their self-righting mechanism here? Very slowly they're trying to get the axe to self-right. Well, they promised they had a 3-mech, and I don't think it's an effective one. And we are about to pass sentence on the judges. Well, the court of the Robot Wars arena says you will be taken hence to a place whence from thence you will be pitted by Sir Killalot. And that's very quickly, Judge Shred, you can ride yourself. Oh, look at Killalot on the claw. It's so slow and deliberate, the punishment for the judges. Dead Metal clutches Judge Shred. There goes the saw, Bash and Killalot in there as well. Shunt wants a piece of the action. And all of a sudden, Judge Shred 2 looks minuscule, doesn't it? And weak and puny in the presence of the house robots. Judges, we have the last laugh. And the full stop to our sentence is nigh for you. Crash from Shuntsax in the soft underbelly. They begged, stole and borrowed parts for their machine, the judges. 3 holes. Oh, the judicial system of Robot Wars sees the scales of justice swaying heavily against the judges. They're out. Behemoth goes through. Where was the major damage caused for Judge Shred 2? Was it the fire, I wonder, burning out the electrics? We'll have to find out from the pits. Certainly Behemoth flipped them over. You see, there was no power in the self-running mechanism, and then the house robots finally came in for the kill.
Well, an end to law and order for Judge Shred. The Behemoth boys are back, and they bounced through. Well, I think you've suited the wedge. In fact, I want to go with that one. Yeah, go on, give me a go with that. Yes.
Great pulling, that.
Hey, hello. Well, you brought some sartorial elegance to proceedings, but unfortunately, that's about all you brought, really.
We want to go to a court appeal.
What happened? I mean, you were flipped over straight away, and your self-righting mechanism didn't seem to work, did it?
No. Oh, there is that. But we had 4 motors in it. Because we're overweight, we had to take 2 out. So we haven't got any power, any pushing power.
Shouldn't have been overweight.
Well, there is that.
You've got to go for a lighter material next time.
Yeah,
will there be a next time?
Oh, there certainly will.
Well, we see you then, ladies and gentlemen. Judge Shred. Have that wig back. How you doing? Good to see you again.
Good to see you again.
Well, I suppose that went according to plan, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. Nicely over.
Well, you've gone very far in lots of these competitions, but you've never quite made it to the end.
No, we haven't. Hopefully, third time lucky.
Is this year your year?
Yeah, hopefully.
Well, we'll wait and see. Let's hear it for the Behemoth boys! Cheers, guys. Well done. Great wig.
Behemoth through to the heat final. Out go the judges. Next up, Exterminator 2 against Arnold Termenegger. Can they create an upset, I wonder?
What happens? The top flips off. We lost a kill switch. So it was upside down. We've got no power. So it's just dead. It's just... We had to kill us a scrap from then on.
Basically, Killalot grabbed us by there, held us in position, and Shunt, everybody else came in and started hacking us to pieces. We were bleeding. And this damage is basically from when it was on its top. Shunt stuck his axe through the bottom and went into this lot, and that's mangled it all. So that's why we couldn't do anything.
Stand by.
So to our second heat semi-final with Exterminator, Marlon Pritchard, Paul Lewis and Simon Baldwin, up against Arnold Termenegger with Ian Inglis, son William and daughter Holly, the Loudwater Combined School in High Wycombe.
2, 1.
Young William and Holly, the tactical experts. William, he says, playing also a vital part for this team. He says he makes it look good. Arnold Termenegger on the defensive against Exterminator, our number 22 sees, by far the bigger of the 2 robots, by far the heavier of the 2 robots, and very quick Exterminator, 25 miles an hour. If you're looking for a dark horse for this series of Robot Wars, well, maybe Exterminator. Who knows, though? This will be a major surprise and shock if Arnold Termenegger can pull off a victory here. Dead Metal comes out with the claws and the pincers. Arnold gets away. Exterminator on the attack with a great axe. You can use an interchangeable flipper as well there. Don't forget it has the scoop bucket too. And all the aggression early on from Exterminator against Ian, a project manager by trade. Loves his DIY. It took him 7 years to build a wall at home, by the way. Arnold Termenegger has flipped Exterminator! Will this be the surprise? No! Those side spike 3 mechanisms came out. A change this year for Exterminator. That's why they could survive and come back to attack. Arnold once again. Exterminator driving away. That is not good technique. Exterminator seen. Marlon Pritchard at the controls, but they come back on the attack again on Arnold. The axe to me doesn't look greatly powerful. Maybe the scoop weapon is more effective to flip at the front. You just saw it lifting up there. More of a scoop wedge than a bucket. Coming back on the attack though, Arnold Termenegger. Really showing a very good plucky display here. Arnold. The axe comes down rather flimsily. There's almost like a yapping jaw on the front of Termenegger. But now you can see the flashing eyes of Killalot. Termenegger getting away. It has a lifter, it has a self-righter, the chassis, don't forget, from a cold water storage tank. Also parts from a boat in there in Arnold. Well, they've come to grips with each other. I think Exterminator is in control of this little dance. Seems to be pushing Arnold around. Again, the axe comes down. Controls being used to, I think, steer away from trouble and take this to the judges. It will go to a judge's decision to see who leads Behemoth in the heat final. For me, it's Exterminator. We'll have to see some action again, though. Well, Marlon Pritchard and the Exterminator team, look at that, thinks it's close. Ian Inglis waits to see the decision. Exterminator first to attack, using the axe. Back came Arnold Termenegger with the flip. So Exterminator had the self-right. Then look at this drive into the CPZ. This could be the decisive moment.
The judge's decision is through, based on style, control, damage and aggression. And they've gone for Exterminator! Oh, well. Are you upset about that?
Not too much.
It was very close, wasn't it?
Yeah?
I mean, I wouldn't have liked to call that. I mean, last year you had a walker.
Yeah, we brought Miss Struts along.
Yeah, Miss Struts. But you've come up with a roller this year.
That's right.
And it's a fine one. It was touch and go who won that one.
Yeah, it's a lot more fun with the rollers compared to the walkers, so they're so much quicker and much more manoeuvrable.
How much can that lift?
Oh, it's hard to tell. It's safely, it can lift around 100 kilos, but you can go far in excess of that. But I think it made the chassis collapse up to about 600 kilos.
Right. Back again next year?
Yes.
A walker or a roller?
We have plans for a walker called Master Struts, and we're still keen on the rollers as well.
Brilliant. We'll love to see you. Ladies and gentlemen, Arnold! Good fight. It was a very good fight. It was a good fight. They were quite. It was quite close, wasn't it?
It was.
I tell you what, though, lads, you've got Behemoth in the final.
Tell us about it.
And they're a tough robot.
Yeah. We haven't worked out what we're going to do yet.
No strategy yet.
Not yet.
I reckon fingers crossed, lads. Fingers crossed.
Everything crossed.
Let's hear it for Exterminator! Cheers, guys.
Oh, Arnold, they've gone out, leaving the two seeds in the heat final. Behemoth against Exterminator 2. This is going to be a very tough, tight battle, I think.
Now, I felt very protective over your robot out there.
That's nice to hear.
Because I saw it, and first of all I thought, well, it's not going to be up to much. And then it just carried on, got better and better, and just impressed me so much by the end. I felt actually quite maternal towards it. Now, what are you gutted?
Not quite sure.
Not sure. It's not fair, is it, really, though?
Nah.
I think you had the much better robot. They won. They were brute force and ignorance, really.
They were less subtle than we were, and we lost out because we didn't have enough control over the robot.
Well, I have to say it's wonderful to have a robot like yours, where you really don't know what to expect, and it's just brilliant to watch, brilliant entertainment.
I'm really pleased with it because it's been actually quite reliable. It took some big hits.
I know.
And it's actually carried on working.
I know. It's fairly mashed, isn't it? That would be fair to say, wouldn't it?
The lifter's got quite severely bent, and that's what stopped us from actually flipping him over a second time, because they actually hit it so hard, and we couldn't actually get it low enough to get under them after. It just kept bringing us to a halt.
Right, well, don't give up on these ones. Back next forwards with a walker, but we loved it.
But Jules, what's going on here in the pits with the Exterminator? I think we've got real problems here for the heat finalists.
We've changed over the control on it for a flipper lock instead of an axe. So we've got to invert it back again. At the last minute. 2 minutes to go.
Will they get it right in time? Exterminator 2 are number 22 seeds against Behemoth and number 6 from Hemel Hempstead. This is how they got to the heat final. Behemoth taking on Arnold Termenegger, but together with Arnold defeating Rambot. Then the mighty victory against Judge Shred 2. Meanwhile, Exterminator, with the judge, were beating Millennium Bud. The walker was in the end toppled before Exterminator saw Arnold Termenegger on the judge's decision.
Marland, come and tell us about the problem that you've just been having.
Well, to take on Behemoth, we've changed over to our flipper device, and we found we had an air leak having to reverse the cylinder, and so we've had to change the configuration back a bit at the last minute, desperately to fix the air leak. But the flipper is going, and we're ready to take them on.
I noticed you were very nippy in the last battle.
Yeah.
Do you think possibly a little bit too nippy? Could you come down a gear and get a bit more control?
we're going to try and get a bit more control, a bit slower in this one, a bit more tactical of a fight.
So Exterminator have made some tactical changes for fighting Behemoth. You've made it to the heat finals in the last 2 wars. Please beat them. We want to see you at the series semis.
Yeah, we will try. It's, every year we try. Yeah, we do. So hopefully this is our year again, as it was in Series 2.
And have you caught sight of their flipper?
We have, but it's only very narrow, so
exactly
the chances of getting onto us are less than they are with us.
So you're quite confident, really, aren't you?
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, I am too. On you go, lads.
Thank you.
Just one thing stands between our 2 robots now and the series semi-finals, and that's each other. It's the 3rd and final round.
Roboteers, stand by. From Hereford and seeded number 22, Exterminator.
Marlon Pritchard, Paul Lewis, Simon Baldwin, the Exterminator team.
From Hemel Hempstead and number 6 seed, Behemoth.
Kane Aston, Anthony Pritchard and his brother Michael there on the right, the Behemoth team.
3, 2, 1, activate.
Both these machines reaching a heat final for the 2nd series running. Let's see if the Exterminator flipper is working. Behemoth immediately turns them up and over. Well, it is working, the flipper, because it's acted almost as a streamer. With, of course, the help from the side spikes as well, but the initial plunge and attack was taken by Behemoth with a pneumatic scoop. Behemoth is the bigger of the 2 robots, slightly the heavier and certainly the more aggressive. And I think Anthony and Michael showed great control, really steering Behemoth around the arena floor. Exterminator rocks and rolls. Marlon Pritchard at the controls, now on the attack. But Behemoth, sturdy, heavy, too strong. They try and flick Behemoth up and over, getting in there on the side of the scoop, pushing it into the CPZ. Shunt can come out on the attack, using its own scoop. Behemoth, head-to-head there with Exterminator. Slam and bam, 160 kilos net there in the 2 robots, with a frontal attack. There they try and use that little flicker to push Behemoth up and over, trying to tag it there on the side spike of Behemoth Exterminator. Behemoth started the stronger. Exterminator has come back very well, and I would guess is now on top in this heat final. Trying to use the side spikes to add an extra flick to Behemoth. Riding the attack of Exterminator, now gets away. Will have to dodge the arena floor flipper. Dangerously near that flipper there, Behemoth. They size each other up. Back away. Exterminator nudging forward towards Behemoth. Out comes Dead Metal trying to grasp Behemoth. Very much now Exterminator on top and on the attack. Trying to get in underneath Behemoth again. A ground clearance of 25 millimeters on Behemoth. Only 15 millimeters on Exterminator. That's the Exterminator team. Can Behemoth come back in? I think at the moment they're struggling, the number 6 seeds. From there it's Exterminator on top. Seeded 22. Will the Behemoth boys suffer disappointment in another heat final? The arena floor spiked them last time around. Behemoth again, looking as if they're in trouble here. Exterminator trying to flip them over one last time. It'll go to the judges. Well, I think Exterminator, Marlon, Paul and Simon have it. And the Pritchard boys and Kane Aston will be disappointed, but it's up to those judges, of course. Judging on style, control, damage and aggression. The early aggression from Behemoth, certainly. And again there, so points tallying up for Behemoth. Good style by Exterminator to self-right, and then in the closing stages, they really were aggressive. Not a great deal of damage caused. Very even heat final.
The judges have made their decision. Remember, lads, it's based on style, control, damage and aggression. Behemoth, the 6 seeds are out. It's Exterminator! Come on! Guys, the 6 seed, one of my favourite robots. It looked like it was all over in the first 2 seconds. I mean, you flipped them, but his self-righter worked really well, didn't it?
Yeah, it did. It brought them back, so...
And then you had problems. What are your problems?
Well, it's basically there's a right way, a wrong way, and a Behemoth way. And basically, Behemoth ways the wrong way.
Well, you seem to be sort of just stuck in going in a line. It's like you couldn't change and turn.
From the last round, we had to change cog inside the gearbox because it was slipping.
Yeah.
And I think it's done it again. So.
And what was you didn't seem to get your shovel working like you used to have it working.
It was working fine, but we didn't use it because we wasn't on them. So, you know, it's only any use if they're on the front.
Good flips in, but
yeah, I mean, you put them right over.
After the drive, really, it was all right for a little bit. It got worse and worse, and then completely went. So we had basically no drive on one side.
It was a war of attrition after that. I tell you what, though, you always flatter to deceive. Are you going to come back and win this competition one day?
One day. One day.
One day.
I hope so. You're great competitors. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Behemoth! Are you nervous?
I was a bit nerve-wracking waiting for that one.
Yeah. I mean, that self-righter, works, doesn't it?
When we had it last year, we didn't get a chance to use it, so it's proved its worth this year.
I tell you what, I mean, they were two similarly shaped robots. I mean, and they are quite strong. Their shovel's really strong. Were you nervous coming into the bout?
Yeah, we weren't sure what was going to happen, because we haven't used the flip mechanism on ours before. Yeah. So we weren't sure if that was going to be strong enough to flip them. So it was all cross fingers, cross toes, and hope for the best.
You're through to the series semi-finals. You've knocked out the 6th seed, one of the best robots. Do you think you can go all the way?
Knows. We'll give it a try, innit?
I'm sure you will. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for Exterminator! Well, it's the show that Alice Cooper ignores. He can't do heavy metal like Robot Wars. Bye-bye.
Madonna, Steps and U2 top of the pops on BBC One in just a moment.